I'm actually in it.
So we're just
We're like, okay.
public, So
Where are the speakers?
Are these where they are? Who's ABC 15? Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't want you out of the loop.
No, you all good. I would have realized eventually.
She woke me up at 7 and I was like, I was ready by
5 Yeah, we're gonna see.
Good morning. My name is Amanda, A-M-A-N-D-A, Lugo, L-U-G-O, and I'm the Democracy Director with Lucha, Living United for Change, Arizona. I'm joined here today with pro-democracy advocates, organizers, elected officials, and the Arizona Coalition to End the Filibuster, dedicated to making our democratic system accessible, inclusive, and just. Yesterday, we witnessed an assault on the democratic process with the signing of SB1485, also known as the Permanent Early Voting List, PEVL Purge. SB1485 is a voter suppression bill that could remove more than 200,000 Arizonan voters from the vote-by-mail list. This bill disproportionately impacts Black, Brown, and Indigenous voters and reverses much of the work our communities have done to ensure equitable access to casting ballots. The organizations and elected officials that stand before you today have worked tirelessly for decades to build a civically engaged infrastructure in Arizona's most vulnerable and marginalized communities of color. In 2020, we witnessed historic voter turnout during a global pandemic that resulted in Republicans losing control of the U.S. House and Senate for the first time since 2011. It is not a surprise that the party that supported a treasonous, domestic, white supremacist terrorist attack on the U.S. Capitol is now passing racist legislation limiting who has access to vote. The passage of SB 1485 comes as Arizona Senate President Karen Fann hired the cyber ninjas with taxpayer funds to conduct a sham audit of 2.1 million Maricopa County ballots. We stand here today committed to continuing to fight to expand voting rights, to build a democracy that is reflective of our communities, to provide life-bettering and life-sustaining opportunities for all Arizonans. With the passage of SB 1485, we now desperately need federal intervention to protect and expand voter access, not limit it. This is only possible if Senators Kelly and Sinema support the For the People Act, as well as the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, and ending the Jim Crow filibuster. On Thursday, May 20th, there will be a statewide day of action with events in Phoenix, Tucson, and Flagstaff calling on Senators Kelly and Sinema to protect our right to vote and democracy. In a moment, you'll hear from Vianney Perez of Progress Arizona, State Representative Athena Salmon, Dr. Warren H. Stewart, Sr., Chair of the African American Clergy Coalition, Mr. Mel Hanna, Statewide Chair of the NAACP Voting Rights Campaign and Chair of the Secretary of State Community Advisory Committee, State Representative Raquel Terán, and State Senator Marquín Quesada. Thank you for your support and attendance. Speakers will be available to take individual questions at the end. Please join me in welcoming Vianney Perez of Progress Arizona.
Good morning. My name is Vianney, V-I-A-N-E-Y, Perez, P-E-R-E-Z. The passage of SB 1485 makes it incredibly urgent for U.S. senators to pass federal voting bills. Most of us, no matter our color, our origin, or our gender, want America to be a place of freedom, for everyone, where we all have an equal say. For democracy to work for all of us, it must include us all. However, yesterday, extremist politicians here in Arizona passed SB 1485, and within the hour, Governor Ducey signed it into law. This bill, as you've heard, purges so many voters from the vote-by-mail list and puts up barriers in the way of those voters who are simply trying to make their voices heard. SB 1485 is a direct attack on our freedom to vote. We need Senator Sinema and Kelly to eliminate the filibuster and pass federal voting rights legislation like For the People Act. Bills like For the People Act would put in place national standards for voting to ensure all of us have a say in key decisions like pandemic relief, health care, and bolstering our economy. We can't let arcane Senate rules like the filibuster get in the way. That is why, if you are with us, we ask you to call Sinema and Kelly and ask them to take action on this issue. And please join us for our rally on May 20th at 5:30 p.m. at Civic Space Park here in Phoenix. Together, we can ensure every eligible American has the freedom to vote and that the results of our elections reflect the will of the people. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. State Representative Athena Salmon, ATHENA, SALMAN, Ranking Member, House Government and Elections Committee. And I want to start off to really give context of what this legislative session has been about and what it's been like. I have a front row seat in the House Government and Elections Committee. I have a front row seat on the House of Representatives floor to not only a partisan extremist attack on the legacy of the great late Congressman John Lewis, but I have watched and witnessed this session alone our conservative colleagues unravel and go after the legacy of the great late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I have watched them go after the legacy of legendary farm worker and union organizer Cesar Chavez. And what we are witnessing in not only the Arizona State Legislature with bills like Senate Bill 1485, but in state legislatures across the country where we see a growing demographic of people of color, of Black, brown, indigenous people growing in the state, is we are seeing an unprecedented rolling back of the hard-earned, blood-fought victories, civil rights victories of the 20th century that even gave me the slimmest opportunity to be standing here today as a state representative, being the voice of the people. That is what we're seeing in our state legislatures today. Now, I don't know about our U.S. senators, specifically Senator Sinema. I don't know if she's put her body on the line, has put her life on the line to protect the freedom to vote, but I know John Lewis did. I know he was beaten. I know he was jailed. I know his life every single day was threatened. And our senator says that this is one of her top heroes. Where is she right now? Where is she? And so I am joining the people, we the people of the United States of America, we the people of the state of Arizona, to call on both Senator Mark Kelly and Senator Kyrsten Sinema to immediately end the Jim Crow filibuster that was used and weaponized to stop the movement that John Lewis was a part of, and to pass the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. Thank you.
Greetings. My name is Warren H. Stewart Sr., W-A-R-R-E-N, middle initial H, S-T-E-W-A-R-T-S-R, and I serve as the chairperson of the African American Christian Clergy Coalition, which represents over 100 pastors, clergy, and congregations in the Valley of the Sun. We enthusiastically unite with pro-democracy advocates and the Arizona Coalition to end the filibuster. Allow me to respond to Governor Ducey's own words when he signed into law SB 1485 via video and justified this voter suppression bill saying, and I quote, "It's all about election integrity," end of quote. The permanent early voting list has been the law of Arizona since 2007. Why did the PEVL all of a sudden need election integrity in 2021 when it was in effect in the 2014 and 2018 general elections in which Governor Ducey was elected and re-elected respectively? If it's all about election integrity, why did the PEVL all of a sudden need to be changed after Arizonans historically voted for a Democrat to be elected as the President of the United States after nearly 30 years and elected its second Democratic United States Senator in 2 years? If it's all about election integrity, why is Governor Ducey standing idly by and saying nothing as Arizona has become the laughingstock of the nation by the Arizona State Senate confiscating over 2 million November 2020 election ballots to recount an election that has been certified by Governor Ducey as legitimate twice? No, Governor Ducey, SB 1485 is not about election integrity. It's about you, Governor Ducey, and your Republican cronies being sore losers and perpetrators of voter suppression. Against millions of Arizona voters who made history in November 2020 by exercising our right to vote, including tens of thousands of new voters, especially voters of color. Governor Ducey, by you signing SB 1485, you evidence that you lack election integrity. One more thing. Governor Ducey also said in his signing video, and I quote, "Let's be clear, despite the deceptive and heated rhetoric being used by some partisan activists," end of quote. SB 1485 was passed in the Arizona State Senate with only partisan Republican votes and signed by a partisan Republican governor. So who are the deceptive and heated partisan activists, Governor Ducey? Thank you very much.
Good morning. I don't know who designed this, but I'm going to ditto everything that Pastor Stewart just said. To come after the pastor is a task. Let me be very basic and very simple. My name is Mel Hanna, native Arizonan, born in a little town up north called Winslow. Had the honor of being elected as the first African-American city councilman in Flagstaff. Also served on the Coconino County Board of Supervisors. Had my 83rd birthday a few days ago, so I've been here. I'm this morning representing the state NAACP, and as we all know, the NAACP is the oldest civil rights organization in the country, maybe in the world, I don't know. And also, I'm chairman of the Secretary of State's Community Advisory Council. We all are here to fight for the same objective end. Let me just quote a statement, and then I'll have my few comments. That statement is, "We hold these truths to be self-evident. That's right. that all men are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Folks, we are fighting not just for a bill, not just for what happened on the 9th floor yesterday. We're fighting for democracy. And if we don't take hands and hold up our democracy today and before this citizenship is over, we will not be living in democracy. We've talked about Jim Crow. I'm predicting that we'll be back to post-slavery. So it's very critically important. The simple message to me this morning, and Pastor Stewart certainly alluded to it, is we have to have a national resolve. And the only way that's going to happen is we got to get more than just a nod from Senator Kelly and from Senator Sinema that we endorse H.R. 1, we endorse Senate Bill 1, we endorse H.R. 4. Yeah, we know you do. We know you love John Lewis. The real question and the real answer is, now, will you, in fact, do whatever it takes to get around, above, or under, or over the filibuster regulation so that we can get out of the United States Senate legislation to President Obama to correct all of this garbage? That's the simple message. That's what I think we're charged with. Thank you very much.
Well, then how do I follow you, Mr. Hanna? That's hard, too. Good morning, everybody. Raquel Terán, State Representative for Legislative District 30 in Phoenix and Glendale. Buenas tardes, Raquel Terán, representante estatal del Distrito 30 en la ciudad de Phoenix y Glendale. And frankly, first, thank you to everybody who is here advocating so we make sure that everybody in Arizona who can cast a vote does so. And thank you because of your work. Because of your work, Arizona looks different. There's hope, there's love, there's dignity, instead of the hateful rhetoric that we've had for so many years come out of the state legislature. And we're seeing it come out right now. And instead of thanking these organizations for ensuring that our communities come out and vote, Republicans and the governor are creating barriers to people coming out and casting a ballot. We had a historic turnout. 80% of Arizona voters came out and voted this election. 80%. Historic. And instead of figuring out how did they come out to vote, it's like, how do we punish them for voting? How do we make it harder for them to vote? Instead of providing more resources so our elections officials can execute elections, they make it harder for them to get resources. Because it's not only 1485, it's 1713 that makes it that you need to provide more identification. It's 10003 that affects more Native Americans than any other community, even though it affects a lot of other communities. It's restrictions to the initiative process. It's restrictions to our voice. That's the problem that we have here today. And you know what? We're here to say that we and the governor and the Republicans need to stop. Need to stop caving to the people who are fomenting conspiracy theories. Need to stop saying that our election was not valid, it was stolen. Stop saying that there was no integrity to our election. And most importantly, they have to stop the big lie. And to our organizations who are here and everybody who wants to participate in our democracy, we're not going to give up. These barriers have been in front of us in different ways, shape, or form in the past, and we've managed to get Arizona to another place. So this is not going to stop us. We are not going anywhere. Aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Thank you.
All right, and I get to go after Representative Terán. Good morning, everybody. My name is Martin Quesada. I represent the people of Maryville and Glendale in Legislative District 29. The spelling of that is MARTINQUEZADA. Ladies and gentlemen, the Arizona legislature today is suffering from a crisis of accountability. They get triggered whenever we mention the disproportionate impacts on communities of color that their policy proposals have. They get triggered when we mention racism in laws like Senate Bill 1485. This is my message to them. If you don't like us talking about racism, if you don't like being called a racist, if you don't like being called out of touch, stop introducing bills that are dangerous and racist like the ones like Senate Bill 1585. Stop voting for bills that make democracy less accessible, and start accepting the fact that racism has always been institutionalized and an ingrained system of our government. Like the points of order that they call when I'm speaking on the floor, like the filibuster that's in place in the Senate right now, that is where it is. It is ingrained, it is part of the system. Members, or ladies and gentlemen, Senate Bill 1485 is clearly an attack on Arizona voters. It is not a housekeeping bill like they describe it. So let's be very clear. What exactly are they cleaning up? They're cleaning up record-setting turnout by Arizona voters. They're trying to clean up accessible measures of voting, and they're trying to clean up a mail-in voting system that is the envy of other states. We have such a good system. That is what they're trying to clean up. And that is what that is what they're trying to. We should be supporting our election system. We should be providing them with more resources so that more people can participate. So it's not just 80%, it's 82%, it's 85%, it's 90%. That is what we should be doing. Instead, their cleanup is keeping them away, keeping us away, keeping our voices down. Everyone, within an hour of sending this bill up to Governor Ducey's office, it was signed into law without the governor even really knowing what the bill was all about. Right. These bills should never be taken that lightly, but they were. And the majority Republican leadership in this state refused to consider, they refused to acknowledge, they refused to even care about the impacts that their decisions have on our communities. That's not right. And when I attempted to express the irrefutable harms that this bill could have on communities of color, I was gavelled down. I was silenced. And that happened in a string of the usual, the typical microaggressions that they throw at Democratic legislators and legislators of color. They did all of that. I was told to stick to the impact of the bill, as if that isn't an impact of the bill. I was told to stop going down rabbit holes, as if the issues of my community, of your community, are rabbit holes instead of Arizonans. This language is used to silence legislators that are the last line of defense when Republican leaders are trying to silence our votes. Unfortunately for them, Arizona voters are no strangers to these strategies. And Senate Bill 1485 is just the newest obstacle that we have to overcome. Roughly 120,000 voters are going to be purged from the Pebble. This measure would make it more difficult for low-income Black and brown communities to vote, and this will make it harder for disabled communities to vote, and this will make it harder for young communities to vote, and it will make it harder for voters to participate, for first-time voters to participate in their government. But we will not stop trying to make Arizona a beacon of accessible democracy in this country. We will not be gavelled down, and we will not be silenced. So everyone, now more than ever, we must see that Congress has to pass the For the People Act. We cannot wait. Our voters and our democracy are being trampled right now in front of our eyes. The For the People Act gives every Arizonan and every American a voice in this nation. So I stand with everyone here today. I call on Senator Kelly, I call on Senator Sinema to pass the For the People Act. I call on them to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, and I call for them to do that by abolishing the filibuster. And I'm not just doing that here today. I'm going to continue to do that at our rally on the 20th with everyone here today, and I want everyone watching to join me on the 20th to ask Senator Kelly and Senator Sinema to do all of these things. Thank you very much.
We are so grateful and honored to work alongside Progress Arizona, State Representatives Athena Salmon, State Representative Raquel Turan, State Senator Martin Quesada, the NAACP Voting Rights Campaign, the African American Clergy Coalition, and all of the other pro-democratic activists, organizers, and elected officials who are committed to continuing to build an inclusive and just democracy. As voters, we have the right to elect officials to lead and represent our communities. However, elected officials do not have the right to exclusively select their voters through suppression. If you fail to represent your constituents by engaging in voter suppression and intimidation tactics, your days in office are numbered. We will not idly stand by because Arizona needs and deserves real leadership. We look forward to seeing you on Thursday, May 20th for the End the Filibuster rally. Thank you so much for coming. This concludes our press conference. Speakers are now available for individual questions.